Hey, what's up there, YouTubers? It's me again, Brian, aka Gamer 55551, and I am back with a My Two Cent Nintendo/gaming video for this week, for the week of May 10th to 16th, where I take a look at 5 stories that caught my attention and give you my thoughts and my opinion. We got several of them coming to talk about, including 2 that kind of surprised us this week. One was, of course, Epic showing off Unreal Engine 5, the tech demo to be exact. Nintendo making some interesting announcements, such as a brand new Paper Mario game basically was announced. Not to mention, and of course we also have some update on Metroid Prime 4. What Square Enix isn't going to be doing this year, especially with E3 not happening because of the coronavirus, and of course Microsoft kind of sort of apologizing for their Xbox event that was supposed to show off like gameplay and all that stuff. So before we get started, we'll get started with a quick My Two Cents, some of the stories that caught my attention, but not in the huge details in the 5 that I'm going to be talking about. The first one, obviously, is that we learned that both Tony Hawk Pro Skater Remaster 1 and 2 is happening, and 2K is doing a Mafia trilogy. Basically, it looks like a remaster version of Mafia 1 and 2, and they're all coming to the current systems right now. Unfortunately, none of them seems to be coming to the Nintendo Switch, which is a bit unfortunate. While it's possible it's possible that a Switch version could exist, and they're probably announcing for a different date or anything like that. That's always a possibility. As of right now, it doesn't look like it's going to be coming to the Nintendo Switch anytime soon. But for those who are looking forward to maybe a new Mafia game or a remastered version of Tony Hawk, this is worth taking a look at. Hopefully the Tony Hawk one does well enough that if Tony Hawk Pro Skater 6 happens, hopefully Activision Blizzard don't botch it up or anything like that. We also learned that Capcom's planning to release some multiple major titles by around April 2021. A lot of it's because they've been doing very well, especially last year with Devil May Cry 5 and Resident Evil 2 doing very well for Capcom. Even the Resident Evil 3 remake, even though that one kind of got a mixed bag and all that stuff. And I'm still mixed with Capcom though. While it's great that they're doing well and they're putting out quality titles and all that stuff, I feel like their support for the Nintendo Switch has been kind of, questionable at best, especially when they made comments like telling Switch owners to buy Dragon Dogma Dark Arisen so they could port Devil May Cry 5 over to the Nintendo Switch. It's worth pointing out they kind of pushed Nintendo to put in some more hardware in it so they could run the Resident Evil engine, which, though impressive, we've yet to see if the Resident Evil engine can run on the Nintendo Switch. We also learned about Phil Spencer making a comment about how some games, though, especially those who may be slashed for 2021, could be impacted because of the whole coronavirus situation, which honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if that is true. I mean, let's be honest, the coronavirus has sort of thrown a wrench at a lot of things, and we've seen a lot of cancellations of events, and certainly most developers had to do the whole, work at home kind of approach. So I wouldn't be surprised if some of the release dates that were maybe originally planned for 2021, if those have either been pushed back, maybe for if a game was announced for early 2021, maybe it was pushed back to later 2021 or beyond. So we'll have to wait and see, but I don't think Phil Spencer is completely wrong, is that the coronavirus certainly has an impact on a lot of the development of games and so forth. We also learned about apparently a game on Unity for the Nintendo Switch that's available on the Nintendo eShop, but it turns out to be a asset flip by the title of Bullet Time of Revenge, and which kind of reinforces an argument that basically there needs to be some kind of quality control. We saw how this played out on Steam, especially with the whole digital homicide and slaughtering round with also YouTuber Jim Sterling and so forth. So it does certainly reinforce that argument. I can't believe somebody at Nintendo said, yeah, okay, put this on the Nintendo eShop right away. And of course, there's 3 videos in the description you could check out, though. The 3 are one video showing a group of people, I think in Peru, getting arrested. And what makes this interesting is that one of the folks that got arrested, this was like violating a coronavirus order or anything like that, was one person dressed up as Mario, and there's a lot of interesting comments about saying Mario getting arrested too. This is Nintendo's new game, Mario breaks out of jail and all that stuff. The link's in the description, you can check it out. I also have one, there's also Drake81, who did a video on why he believes EA is supporting the Nintendo Switch, and his belief, at least according to what I saw in the video, was that Doug Bowser, who used to work at EA, may have convinced EA to bring their games over to the Nintendo Switch. Now, that it's possible. That could be true to a certain degree. I'm not saying Drake81 is entirely wrong, nor am I attacking him or anything like that. But I still have my doubts about EA supporting the Nintendo Switch, given some of their, great partnership that they claim to have with Nintendo and so forth. So I have my doubts, but we'll wait and see. Time will ultimately tell. And last but not least, we had the Ghost of Tsushima State of Play, which showed off a lot of the gameplay and a little bit of details, and all I can say is it's definitely on my radar for 2020. It definitely could be one of my favorite games of 2020. I still have to get hands on the gameplay and all that stuff. The one criticism I have, and I know some will disagree with me on this, is that I still wish that they had a mini-map and all that stuff. But, you know what? It's not something I'm going to lose sleep over. I want to get my hands on the gameplay and try it out, but it's definitely one of the games on my radar and all. Okay, with the quick My Choose Send part now done, we'll get started with our first one, and this one has to do with the Xbox Series X and, well, the whole Inside Xbox show. Now, I'm sure most of you are aware, last week, I believe it was last week, Microsoft held their first Inside Xbox that focuses on the Series X, and they showed off certainly a lot of the games, and while some of the games may seem impressive and all, there was heavily criticism leveled towards it. Many felt like this was misleading, as it didn't really show off gameplay. It showed off cinematic trailers. Even Assassin's Creed Valhalla definitely got a lot of criticism for it as well. In fact, that video and that video one got downvoted big time. And it seems as though Microsoft probably acknowledges that, yeah, they kind of made a mistake. In an article from Windows Center, link in the description, it reads that Xbox Aaron Greensberg promised to learn from disappointing Inside Xbox shows. It said, quote, yesterday's or last week or something, Microsoft revealed a number of games for Xbox Series X, the upcoming next generation console that's 2 to 3 teraflops more powerful than the PS5. While many titles like Bright Memory Infinity and Scarlet Nexus got gameplay trailers, other games like Assassin's Creed Valhalla showed in-game footage, but not what it was like to not what it was like to play the game. This caused a lot of disappointment because everyone was expecting proper gameplay for all of the titles. Microsoft is aware that people are disappointed and vowed to do better. In a tweet, though, Aaron Greensberg, if I'm saying the name correctly, said, quote, had we not said anything and just shown May's Inside Xbox show like we did last month, I suspect reaction might have been different. Clearly, we set some wrong expectations, and that's on us. We appreciate all the feedback and can assure you we will take all in and learn as a team. So obviously it's clear that they are aware of this, though. And I will say that I do have to applaud Microsoft for at least, admitting that, we screwed up. We should have not done it this way and all that stuff. And I think that certainly is a good thing. The question is, will they learn from their mistake? Because we know, I think the upcoming, in July though, they're going to be talking or supposedly be showing off first party titles, which if they are going to show off actual gameplay, they need to really show the gameplay. It's one thing if you show off, a cinematic trailer, but when you promote it as this is the gameplay though, that doesn't sit exactly very well with a lot of people. Compared to what Ghost of Tsushima, which Sony showed off under their State of Play, that is an actual gameplay trailer right there. They showed off everything in terms of how the mechanics work and so forth, to the combat and so on. That is how a gameplay trailer should be done. Not just put like, just a cinematic trailer and then call it, this is the gameplay trailer. That's not going to sit well with everyone. Now, does this doom the Xbox Series X? I would say it's a little too early to tell if that will do something like that. I think when you look at what Microsoft is doing with Xbox Series X compared to what they did with the Xbox One, it's clear they're trying to learn from their lessons and try to really make the Xbox Series X a success. Whether that pays off or not remains to be seen when the system finally comes out. But we'll see how the next Inside Xbox turns out and whether or not they truly have learned their lesson from this or not. But overall, I would say good that they apologize, good that they admit that they made a mistake. Hopefully they learn their lesson on this one, and with the next Inside Xbox that shows some actual gameplay. I mean, again, see Ghost of Tsushima, that's a good example of showing actual gameplay. Okay, we're going to take a quick break. When we get back, we're going to get to part 2, and this one has to do with Unreal Engine 5 that Epic recently announced. So we'll take a quick break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with part 2 of our My True Set video, and for this one, we're going to be taking a look at Epic recently announcing Unreal Engine 5, the latest engine that is used to power, latest engine from the Unreal Engine series. Now, Unreal Engine pretty much is sort of is a tool used by several developers, not all developers. It's sort of a way, like, if you can't make your own in-game engine, you can use like Epic's Unreal Engine, and we've seen Unreal Engine be used before for a lot of games. Games like Borderlands 3 have used Unreal Engine, particularly Unreal Engine 4. We've also seen, Final Fantasy VII Remake that uses the Unreal Engine 4. To even on the Nintendo Switch, as we saw games like Octopath Traveler use Unreal Engine 4, the upcoming Bravely Default 2 uses Unreal Engine 4. Hell, even Goodfeel did use Unreal Engine 4 to port over Yoshi's Crafted World, make Yoshi's Crafted World for the Nintendo Switch. And now Epic is starting to work, and basically by next year, we're going to start seeing possibly games run on Unreal Engine 5. According to an article from Game Industry Buzz, it reads that, quote, Epic announced Unreal Engine 5 with first PS5 footage. They also said beginning today, Epic will waive royalties on the first 1 million in-game revenue for all Unreal Engine games. It reads, quote, Epic Games has officially unveiled Unreal Engine 5 via a demo running on the PlayStation 5 that offers the first look at gameplay on the next generation system. The video demo showcased a number of new and improved features coming to Unreal Engine 5, including improvement to sound, water physics, animation, and two specific technology, nanites and lumen. Nanites is a new virtualized geometry technology that allows for film quality sources art to be imported directly into Unreal Engine 5 without bumping up against polygon count or memory budget or a loss in quality. Lumen is a dynamic lighting technology that lets game worlds react to scenes and lighting change with shifts, such as lighting turn on, the sun changing angle, or a hole opening in the ceiling causing both direct and indirect light to change accordingly. Unreal Engine 5 is set to go into preview in early 2021 with a full release in late early 2021 with a full release in late 2021, and will support both next and current gen consoles as well as PC, Macs, iOS, and Android. Projects built in Unreal Engine 4 will be compatible with and can be moved to Unreal Engine 5 once it's launched. Additionally, Epic Games has announced that it will release Fortnite as a launch title on next-gen consoles and will also migrate the game to Unreal Engine 5 sometime in mid-2021. Alongside its reveal of Unreal Engine 5 beginning today, Epic will now waive all royalties on Unreal Engine games up to the first $1 million in gross revenue, with the new term of license agreement retroactive to January 1st, 2020. And finally, Epic has fully launched Epic Online Service, a free SDK integration that allows developers to include friends, matchmaking, lobbies, achievements, leaderboards, and Epic accounts across systems in their games across PlayStation, Xbox, Nintendo Switch, PC, Mac, iOS, and Android. So I will have to say that seeing the demo, it does look impressive though, although it's going to be interesting to see what developers do with it though. Obviously, as impressive as the demo is, that doesn't automatically mean every developer is going to make the game exactly look like that. That said though, like I said, I'm still still looks impressive, and I am looking forward to seeing what developers are going to do with it. The one part that kind of caught my attention on the statement is that it's also said it will also be used in current gen consoles like PS4, Xbox One, and even, I assume, although I would like to hear an official statement from Epic and Nintendo, I assume it's going to be means the Nintendo Switch though, and it sounds like it probably is going to refer to that Unreal Engine 5 could be used on the Nintendo Switch. That, and a couple weeks ago we've heard Virtuos talking about bringing games from the PS5 and Xbox Series X over to the Nintendo Switch though. That said, there might be some caveats in terms of Unreal Engine 5 running on the Nintendo Switch. In an article from Nintendo Life, they added a bit of a update to their story, and it reads that Digital Foundry, Richard Leadbetter shared his own thoughts via Eurogamer and believes Unreal Engine 5 will run on anything, including Switch. Just don't expect it to be on par with next generation experience revealed. The statement says, Unreal Engine 5 gets its first public reveal early in 2021 with franchise juggernaut Fortnite translating across from Unreal Engine 4 later on in the same year. Unlike Unreal Engine 4, however, this new iteration of the engine isn't a clean break from the past. It has the same system target as Unreal Engine 4, meaning it will run on anything from the most high-end PC to old Android and ISO devices, encompassing current consoles too, including Switch. Obviously, though, you can't expect the same level of fidelity and full-fledged next-generation experience revealed today. So, if what they're saying is true, if what Digital Foundry's Richard Leadbetter, if I'm saying the last name correctly, is saying is true, I'm not entirely surprised by this. I mean, if you look at games that were released on the Switch that didn't run on an Unreal Engine, like, say, Doom, Wolfenstein 2, The New Colossus, and Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, those games were able to run on the Switch. Obviously, there had to be some changes, such as the fact that the games had to run at 30 frames per second, and visually they don't look as good as they would, like, say, on the PS4, Xbox One, or PC for that matter. So I'm going to assume, and again, I'm no game developer or anything like that, but I'm going to assume that if developers are going to bring their games running on Unreal Engine 5 to the Switch, expect it to not have the same exact graphical kind of bells and whistles that you would see on a PS5 and all that stuff. Which, I mean, as long as the game is presentable and it runs well, I mean, that's fine. And I think it's very important in order for the Switch to really survive, if Nintendo wants to keep the Switch going for a long, long time, they got to make sure their system is capable to running these kinds of engines, whether it's like the Unreal Engine or the Unity engine and so forth. Though they need to basically make sure their systems are capable of running this. So it wouldn't surprise me if some of the bells and whistles that we saw in the PS5 version are not in, like, say, the Switch version of a game running in on Unreal Engine 5. Maybe when a Switch 2 or Switch Pro comes out, whenever that ever happens, maybe it will take advantage of the kind of things we'll see on the PS5. I mean, that's always a possibility, but for now, I would say if a game's running on Unreal Engine 5 and it comes to the Switch, just don't expect the bells and whistles like you would see in the PS5 at all. So, overall, very interesting tech demo that Epic showed up for Unreal Engine 5. It definitely does give us an idea what games could look like running on Unreal Engine 5, and it'll be interesting to see what developers do with it, though. As for Unreal Engine 5 on the Nintendo Switch, assuming this is true, and it sounds more likely that it is, though, then I would say it's great that Unreal Engine 5 will support current consoles. I assume the Nintendo Switch, but I'm assuming the fact that we're not going to see the kind of bells and whistles you would see, like, say, on the PS5, since this is a tech demo running on the PS5, that is. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we'll get to part 3. And this one has to do with Nintendo surprisingly announcing a Paper Mario game, and actually a brand new Paper Mario game, though. So we'll take a quick break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with part 3 of our My 2 Cent video, and for this one, this has to do with a surprise announcement Nintendo made, and that is a brand new Paper Mario game. I think it's called the Origami. I apologize if I'm not saying it correct. I think the Origami King, to be exact. Now, while the Paper Mario series doesn't have exactly the same kind of the way, say, like Super Mario RPG Legends of the Seven Stars, which is a game that came out on the Super Nintendo back in 1996, a classic in my book, though, the series certainly has found its audience. Same with, say, the Mario and Luigi games that originally appeared on the Game Boy Advance, Nintendo DS, and the Nintendo 3DS, though. However, while many Nintendo fans have fond memories of games, I think, like Paper Mario 64, if that was the name, I apologize if I get the name wrong, to 1,000 Years Doors, which a lot of people like, the series has kind of hit sort of a snag, especially with games like Sticker Star Saga, that was released on the Nintendo 3DS, not everyone liked that, to Color Splash, that was released on the Wii U. I personally didn't hate it as much, but obviously it didn't sit well with everyone, though. So it was kind of interesting to hear Nintendo was announcing and surprising us with a brand new Paper Mario game, considering that rumors had it that Nintendo was preparing sort of like a 35th anniversary of Mario with supposedly a remake or a remastered of the 1,000 Years Door. But hey, I'm willing to take a brand new entry. Indeed, I would be willing to take a brand new entry. Not that I'm against a remastered, but a new entry is all fine with me, though. In an article posted on Nintendo Life, it reads that, quote, Nintendo has revealed Paper Mario, the Origami King for the Nintendo Switch. The latest game in the Paper Mario series sees Princess Peach welcome Mario and Luigi to the kingdom's Origami Festival. Things don't go quite as peachy as might have hoped, though. As you can see in the brand new trailer, it seems as King Aulx, who claims to be ruler of the Origami Kingdom, has hatched a devious plot that endangers everything Mario holds dear. And some of the trailers also look like a fold-up Bowser and all that stuff. And I'm curious to see what role he will play in it and so forth, though. The game will launch exclusively on the on the Switch on July 17th for $60, though, in both digital and physical form, and you should find the games already available to pre-purchase on the Nintendo eShop, though. Now, I've seen the trailer, and honestly, I am definitely impressed. I mean, it's a good example of how video games can be an art form, and there's no doubt I definitely like the art style, what this game looks like, though. I am curious about the combat part, as they only showed a small glimpse of it, but it looks like when you go into combat, you sort of rotate, I believe, the position of where the enemies are, and then you do like an attack or something like that. I'm very curious to see how this is all going to play out. I'm sure we need more details and all that all that, but it amazes me that this game was in development for a while, or like no one even knew this was until they decided to show it off, which kind of also brings the impression of what other games does Nintendo have in development that we are not fully aware of, and so forth. And with this announcement, though, it sort of has reinforced a rumor about the possibility of Nintendo releasing sort of a remaster version of, say, Mario Galaxy 1 and 2 or Super Mario 3D World and so forth. It has certainly reinforced that rumor that has been going around. But it's also now reinforced another rumor in which supposedly we could be seeing, say, a port of, again, this is a rumor, we don't know if this is true or not, but of Pikmin 3. In another article from Nintendo Life, it reads that, quote, "If today's Paper Mario reveal wasn't exciting enough, we now have mumbling of a potential Pikmin 3 re-release for the Nintendo Switch to ponder over. In a newly posted article discussing Paper Mario The Origami King announcement, VentureBeat has reported that other Nintendo studios will have games ready to release soon as well. That includes the 3D Mario Remaster, but it also includes Pikmin 3 Deluxe. The line about 3D Mario Remaster, of course, is referring to the rumor 35th anniversary release that was first reported back in March. Pikmin 3 Deluxe, however, is something we haven't heard a whole lot about before. So should we expect a boatload of Mario games and a Pikmin 3 Deluxe this year? We'll have to wait and see what Nintendo decides to officially reveal, but it certainly is an exciting perspective. So if this is true, this is kind of interesting that they're waiting to announce this, though, and it might give us an idea of the kind of approach Nintendo may be doing. I mean, we've heard rumors that they may not be doing a direct or a digital presentation in June, obviously because, the whole coronavirus situation, and this may be the approach we might be seeing. They may choose to release certain games or release, individual games, show off the trailers and all that stuff, not do like any kind of direct kind of approach. So if this is true that that some of their studios have games ready to show off, especially if the rumors about Pikmin 3 are true, then it's obvious they may take the kind of approach we're seeing with Paper Mario, the Origami King, and all that stuff. So overall, the trailer for Paper Mario, the Origami King, definitely looks interesting. I'm looking forward to that game when it comes out in July. I'm still curious about the combat and how that's going to play out. I still need to see some more information about it. And of course, I think the rumor of Pikmin 3 is interesting. I hope it's true, and who knows, maybe this, if it is true and Pikmin 3 does come out, maybe this will tide us over until they actually bring over, do a Pikmin 4, if that ever happens. So, but, yeah, Paper Mario, the Origami King, that's definitely on my radar to get from the Nintendo Switch. Okay, we're going to take a quick break. When we get back, we're going to get to part 4, and this one has to do with what Square Enix is going to be doing at least this year, or at least for the summer, in regards of, game announcements and so forth. So we'll take a quick break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with part 4 of our My 2 Cent video, and for this one, this has to do with in regards of Square Enix, though, and obviously Square Enix is basically taking a different approach this year. Now, I've said this before, and I would say this again, though. Obviously, the whole situation in regards of with the coronavirus has really upheaven a lot of companies and all that stuff, including game developers who probably were planning to make certain announcements, maybe at E3 or their own digital presentation and so forth, and it has really kind of thrown a wrench in that. And some developers have decided to take sort of a different approach and so forth. As I mentioned in part 3, though, Nintendo talked about, basically, you saw how Nintendo announced Paper Mario, Origami King out of the door, and so forth, which obviously gives us a good idea of what the kind of approach we could see from other developers. And obviously, it sounds like Square Enix is probably going to do something similar, or it sounds more likely they're going to do something similar to what Nintendo did with, Paper Mario, the Origami King. In an article from Destructoid, it reads, quote, Square Enix isn't organizing a big multi-game news event and saying upcoming games will be shown on an individual basis. The article reads, quote, Square Enix had a surprisingly packed lineup of upcoming games to show off at E3 2019, but things won't be the same this year. They can't be this same this year. This year. E3 2020 was called off, but there's also the ramification of remote work to consider. Some studios are adjusting better than others. Some companies like Microsoft are investing a lot of time and energy in hosting digital events. There's a new console to sell folks on before the holidays, after all. Others, like Bethesda, has opted to skip online-only press conference given the many challenges we're facing due to the coronavirus pandemic. As reported by Bloomberg, Square Enix isn't going to have a multi-game digital briefing this summer like we might expected. Rather, the company is focusing its effort on individual video game reveal, announcements, and update for this fiscal year slate of new releases. In a tweet by Takahasa from Bloomberg, if I'm saying his name correctly, I apologize if I'm not, it says, quote, Square Enix said it won't hold online events to unveil this fiscal year's new releases around E3 timing because making assets ready for such shows has become difficult due to the coronavirus. Instead, it will announce new titles on individual basis. The article reads, Last we heard from Square Enix back in March, the publisher was exploring other options in lieu of E3. It also said that its 2020 lineup and next generation that lies beyond is stronger than ever. E3's 2020 cancellation left a void that's now being filled by a bunch of scattershot news event and initiatives from wide-range Summer Game Fest to the indie learning Guerrilla Collective. It feels like the new one-off events are popping up every day. The whole landscape is changing before our eyes. On the bright side, you won't have to sit through a lengthy Marvel's Avenger presentation in June. So obviously, it looks like Square Enix is basically going to do, they'll put out like a video of like their next like one title and show off what the title is and all that stuff. So based on what I'm reading, if I'm reading this correctly, it sounds like they're going to take the approach similar to what Nintendo did with Paper Mario, the Origami King, and what Sony just recently did with their State of Play with Ghost of Tsushima. And honestly, it wouldn't surprise me if Square Enix does this, though. I mean, like I said before, the coronavirus has really thrown a wrench in the whole situation, especially for those developers who are hoping to make, big announcements and so forth. And obviously, they're trying to adjust to certain things, including, work at home and all that stuff. And honestly, I mean, it's somewhat disappointed, but not completely shocked by this, though. I mean, I thought this approach it certainly wasn't bad. I mean, Nintendo did a good job with the announcement of Paper Mario. Sony did a good job showing off the gameplay of Ghost of Tsushima. So this might actually work for Square Enix, and we'll be interested to see what other developers, if they take a similar approach. So overall, yeah, a little disappointed that they're not going to do like a big event or anything like that, but I don't have a problem with them announcing, like individual games, like do a video showing off gameplay of each and every individual game, like do it like maybe like on this day or on this day rather than, just do like one big presentation and all that stuff. And who knows, maybe they'll do a video showing maybe they made some improvements to the Marvel's Avengers game and all that stuff. Last year that didn't exactly sit very well. Let's just say that didn't get the best response. Maybe they improved on it, but who knows? But overall, I don't see really any issue with Square Enix doing this, considering what's going on in the world lately. Okay, we're going to take a quick break. When we get back, we're going to get to part 5, and this one has to do with some interesting hirings that Retro Studio is doing in regards of Metroid Prime 4. So we'll take a quick break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with part 5, our 5th and final part of our My 2 Cent video. And for this one, we're going to be taking a look at a report coming out in regards of Metroid Prime 4. Now, back in 2017 during E3, during one of Nintendo's during their digital presentation, they showed off a announcement trailer, no gameplay or anything, but basically a logo that showed that they were developing Metroid Prime 4, the long-awaited sequel to the Metroid Prime trilogy that was released back on the GameCube and the Wii era though, Metroid Prime 1, 2, and 3. At the time it was says now being in development for the Nintendo Switch. Now, since then, there were rumors about exactly who was developing and all that stuff. Several rumors pointed to an internal development team working on it. Others pointed to, say, Bandai Namco was handling the port of Metroid Prime 4, with several supposedly linking page, at least discovered by some folks, including YouTuber Drake81, that pointed to possibly Bandai Namco working on it, though. However, last year in 2019, Nintendo gave an update on Metroid Prime 4, and it wasn't exactly the news everyone wanted to hear, although the response, however, was met with a positive reception than compared to how other developers handled it, though. The response they gave was that the game was not living up to their standards, and because of that, they decided to scrap development altogether and start over and have Retro Studio handle it, though. Now, I applaud the fact that Nintendo was willing to apologize for the fact that they kind of screwed up with development, though. I think that's good. I wish there are other developers that are willing to do that, though. However, at the same time, some criticism does need to be leveled at Nintendo on the fact that, why didn't they go with Retro Studio in the first place? I mean, it's clear Retro Studios is a very talented development studio. I mean, with the Metroid Prime series and Donkey Kong Country Return and Tropical Freeze, you would think that you would want to give the folks who handled the first 3 Metroid Prime games, you'd think that you would give them a shot to let them handle Metroid Prime 4 and all that stuff. But either way, they were willing to apologize and basically gave Retro Studio handling it. And since then, we've heard bits and this and that, including some hiring and all, and recently we learned of some new hirings indeed. In an article from Nintendo Life, it reads that, quote, Metroid Prime 4 developers Retro Studio hires Battlefield, Tomb Raider, and Borderlands artists, joining recent Halo and Crysis developers. It reads that, quote, it would appear that Retro Studios, a subsidiary of Nintendo, which is currently working on the highly anticipated Metroid Prime 4, has once again been hiring a number of talented industry folks to bolster its ranks. As spotted by VGC, the Texas-based developers have brought on a number of new VFX artists, the people responsible for visual aspects of special effects like explosions, lasers, fires, and the likes. The new hires include Adad Morals, if I'm saying the name correctly, from Battlefield Hardline, Brian Eric, ERCE, apologize I'm not saying the name correctly, Shadows of the Tomb Raider, and Nicholas Wilson of Borderlands 3. Over the past few months, we've been hearing plenty of exciting Retro Studios newcomers. The three mentioned above will be joining Mark Kappas, previously new Super Lucky Tales developer Playful, James Beach, BECH, Crysis 3 and DC Universe Online, Stephen Dupree, if I'm saying it incorrectly, Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, and Kyle Heffley, Hefley, of Halo. We're still yet to see anything of Metroid Prime 4, of course, but seeing all these names joining the team is certainly a promising prospect. It's now been over years since we first heard the development of the game has been scrapped and restarted. And also in the article of VGC, they say that, quote, around half of the full-time developers who worked on Metroid Prime 3 remains at Retro Studios, according to a VGC analysis conducted in August 2019. It's found that a core team of around 50 people work full-time on the 2007 Wii shooter, and around 27 remain at the developer, including 4 contractors made permanent. Certainly, 5 of Metroid Prime 3 11 designers were still at Retro and potentially working on the upcoming Metroid Prime 4. However, from the original Metroid Prime, which was released almost 2 decades ago, less than 10 of the 40-plus team members remain at Retro, and virtually all the lead creators have moved on. It's currently unclear if the Texas-based Retro is working on any other projects in addition to Metroid. So I am a little curious about them hiring some new VFX artists, including the ones from Battlefield and the ones for Borderlands 3, considering that Borderlands 3 is sort of like was basically a shell-shaded look and all that stuff. So it's going to be interesting to see what they bring to the table. And it's also would be interesting to see what else is Retro working on. I mean, great that they're working on Metroid Prime 4 and so forth, but I would love for them to tackle maybe other games out there. Maybe a third Donkey Kong Country game would be nice, but I would also be open to, say, like, tackling like another IP from Nintendo, to even coming up with their own original game, develop their own original game and all that stuff. That would be great. Maybe revise some of the games that may have been canceled at the time and give it another shot and so forth. So it's sort of interesting of all these people they are hiring, though. Who knows if these people will be permanent or not, but great that they're hiring more. Hopefully we'll learn something about maybe Metroid Prime 4 soon. Maybe maybe just even a little bit about the story or an idea what the gameplay might be would be nice. Even though I know it's probably going to be a while until we hear anything more about Metroid Prime 4. So overall, great that they are hiring these people, though, and all that stuff. I'm curious to see what they bring to the table in terms of for Metroid Prime 4, but it doesn't change the fact that it's still going to be a while until we hear or see actual gameplay footage of Metroid Prime 4, though. Maybe we'll see. Hopefully, it will be released on the Switch. Although it seems although I still think it might be unlikely. Don't be surprised if it's announced for, hey, we're bringing it to the Switch Pro or the Switch 2 and all. I suspect it will come to the Switch and all that stuff, but I could be wrong, though. Okay, this concludes It's My 2 Cent video for this week. And again, these are my opinion. What are yours? What are your thoughts about Microsoft apologizing for their Inside Xbox and all that stuff? Do you think it was the right thing to apologize about it, saying that they weren't really showing off any gameplay and all that stuff? Do you accept their apology? Do you think they will learn from this, and that the next Inside Xbox they will show actual gameplay? What are your thoughts about Unreal Engine 5? Were you impressed with the demo, though? Does it give us an idea of what we can expect for the PS5 and possibly Xbox One Series X? Do you think Unreal Engine 5 do you believe that it will be coming to the Nintendo Switch? Basically, based on what Epic said in terms of it's also be coming to current systems and all that stuff. And if it does, and if we do see Unreal Engine 5 on the Nintendo Switch, do you think that we're going to see something maybe different than what it was shown on for the PS5? Not having the kind of bells and whistles the PS5 has, though. What are your thoughts about the new Paper Mario game, Paper Mario: The Origami King? Are you excited about this game? Are you concerned? Are you concerned the fact that it will be just like Sticker Star Saga or Color Splash, and you weren't happy with those games? Or do you think it will be as good as, say, like 1,000 Years Doors and all that stuff? And do you think this opens the door? Do you think this reinforces the rumor about them doing a 35th anniversary, releasing these remastered games, including remastered Mario games, including the possibility of a Pigma 3 Deluxe and so forth. What are your thoughts about Square Enix taking their approach in terms of announcing games, individually, not basically as, like a big multi-game press because of the whole coronavirus situation? Do you think this is the right approach? Do you don't think this is the right approach at all? And what are your thoughts about this new hiring for Metroid Prime 4 that Retro Studio is doing? Do you think this is good news and all? Do you think this could give us an idea what kind of direction Metroid Prime 4 can go and all that stuff? Are you patiently waiting to hear any news about gameplay or story about Metroid Prime 4? Do you agree with what I said in this video? Do you disagree? Do you have a difference of opinion? As always, sound off on the comment section below. Comment section below. Let me know what you think. And if you like this video, I hope you hit the like button. I would appreciate it. And I hope you do subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you do, make sure you hit the bell icon for notifications of any new videos I put up. Also, feel free to share this video if you want to, and feel free to donate to my channel if you like. You could do it through PayPal me or Patreon. Links will be in the description down below. And I will see you again next time when I do another video. Hopefully that will be soon. Until then, from Southern California, wish you all a good day then. Bye!